audio now? All right. I hereby call the November 3rd, 2025 Planning Commission meeting to order at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please do a roll call?
Commissioner Glenn is absent. Commissioner Allen?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
Commissioner Collins?
Here.
Commissioner McCabe? Here. Commissioner Zagarodny is not here, and Commissioner Scoggin is not here, but we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? All right. Any objections to approving the agenda as written? All right. Hearing and seeing none, the agenda is approved. Pledge of Allegiance. Would Commissioner McCabe please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Consent agenda. On the consent agenda for tonight, we have minutes, regular meeting minutes from October 20th, 2025. Introduction for public hearing quasi-judicial matters, there are none. Introduction for public hearing legislative matters, none. All right, so are there any objections to approving the consent agenda as written? All right, hearing and seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. And for the record, Commissioner Zagarodny is here. All right, committee reports, none. Agency staff reports, none. Land use classification, none. Audience participation. Caleb, do you have anybody on the phone for audience participation? Okay, not seeing anyone in the room here for audience participation. All right, seeing and hearing there are no persons to be heard. Is there any objection to closing audience participation? All right, audience participation is now closed. Public hearing quasi-judicial matters, there are none. Public hearing legislative matters. Resolution 25-18, a resolution of the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commission recommending approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 43.20 subdivision development standards to allow lots to be reduced to 30,000 square feet within single-family residential land use districts. Staff Alex Strawn, Planning and Land Use Director. Mr. Strawn, please provide your staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Commission. This is an ordinance that is being proposed by Assembly Member Sumner. And what it does is allows an avenue for somebody to divide lots to less than 40,000 square feet, which is our standard, what's known as a borough acre. It's our minimum lot size under our subdivision code. It allows this as long as a couple of different things happen. First of all, the location of the well and septic on the lots have to be located on the plat itself, and people who build and develop those lands will be required to place the wells and the septics in those areas. The logic behind it is that the 40,000 square foot lot size that was originally developed, not sure when, probably back in the late 70s or so, was put in place as a protection to allow minimum setback requirements, setback distances or separation distances from wells and septics. And if you were to coordinate between property owners where wells and septics would be, you could sort of clump the wells and clump the septics and keep that minimum separation distance, even if you have a smaller lot size. The other thing that would be required to be done is that those lots would also have to be zoned single-family residential. So we have a single-family residential land use district already in place. It has 3 different neighborhoods that are already in there, And so if you wanted to take advantage of this, you would, like a developer would have to include the lots within that zone. So you couldn't develop multifamily developments there. So that's a rundown of it, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Are there any
foreseeable cons to doing to the lot size reduction to 30,000 square feet? Because just quick math here, we're going from a borough acre, which is 0.918 acres, is 40,000 square feet, and 30,000 square feet is 0.689 acres. So I mean, not that much reduction there. So what are the potential cons that could come from this?
Yeah, I would say through the chair. So Alex Strawn, planning director. So if I were to make an argument against this ordinance, I would say some of the potential cons would be, first of all, code enforcement could be difficult for us to determine where people put their septic or where people put their well, and try to enforce the location of that could be difficult. So it could create disputes between land or between neighbors where somebody didn't put their septic in the designated area. That could create problems. Another would be, the more septic systems that you put in a close proximity to each other, the more you have the potential to contaminate the water table. Those would be probably the biggest arguments against it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but through the chair, Michael Collins, but by doing this reduction, those wells and septics automatically have to be, or already have to be identified prior to that. So that would kind of alleviate some of that code compliance issues, right?
Yeah. So in theory, people would see on the plat when they purchase the lot that they have a designated spot where they can put their septic system, and any builder, generally will probably identify that and do it correctly. So yes, but so we have experience with this. One example would be Midtown Estates, where the planning commission was the planning commission. Yeah, no, it's the platting board designated area. They allowed a smaller lot size. This is under a different section of code, but they allowed a smaller lot size, but they had shared septic areas. So neighbors had to share their septic areas. And that did create some problems with enforcement where people did not put the septic area where they're supposed to. So there could be some of that, but in theory, if everybody did everything according to plan, they could work.
Through the commissioner, Commissioner Carpenter. So we've already had issues with that.
So this is Alex Strawn. We've had issues with a similar type situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, but there's.
So we'll just end to try it again and just go with the theory that everybody's going to play nice and nobody will mess it up again. This time will be different.
Well, this is a different situation. And I'd say under any circumstances, people may develop things incorrectly and cause issues.
Yep.
So it's not a perfect world that we live in.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But the problem we're going to face is enforcement, right?
If people build in the wrong spot, if they put a septic system in the wrong spot, then code compliance may have to get involved, because now they're making it so their neighbor cannot put their well where they need to put the
It's like a
well.
domino effect. If one doesn't do it correctly, then boom, 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 right?
Well, it could potentially affect the neighbor next door. Yeah.
And the negative of that would be,
Just
is it
tell people
important
that-
or is it just,
so having to tell people that they have to move their septic system when they've already installed it is not a fun thing to do on either side.
and if the new buyer buys it and didn't know that, makes it even harder, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we're talking about something that we've already had a problem with, but hey, let's just try it again. And the same problem is going to be the same problem we had, is enforcement.
So there are problems out there regardless. There are times where people are squished between septic systems and have a hard time having a place to put their well. So no matter what we do here, the world is a messy place, right? So yeah, I think generally speaking, people will probably build their septic systems and place their wells in the spot where they're supposed to.
Commissioner Case, is the objective of this to maximize property so that you can squeeze more lots into an area?
So the answer to that question, I believe, is yes. The more density we have, the more, the smaller lot sizes, in theory, is a great thing. The more people we can put in to an area, the less they pay per road mile, the less they pay per fire station, and the less sprawl we have, essentially. So the idea is to create more affordable housing by allowing more lots to be created in developable land.
Okay, and a follow-up. What is the regulation for multifamily? Lot sizes?
So right now, a multifamily permit is required. You can have 2 lots per 40,000 square feet. So if you have a 60,000 square foot lot, you can have 3 or two houses. I'm sorry, 2 dwelling units per 40,000 square feet until you need a permit. So in theory, if you have a 1 acre lot, you can put a duplex without any permit. As soon as you put a triplex, then you need a multifamily development permit. It's not to say you can't do it. It just means that you have some restrictions and you have to go through a permitting process. If it was zoned to single family residential, multifamily would not be allowed, period.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? Okay.
I have one other thing. I saw somebody had it was a fourplex advertised the other day for sale, a fourplex that was not connected to each other, and I had never heard of that. There's 4 houses in an area. What kind of rules are there for that kind of a situation as far as septic and wells go?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So those are commonly referred to as detached fourplexes.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, and what we have found is that there's primarily one developer who's doing these, that he can squeeze 4 houses onto 1 acre lot, and generally there's 1 well and 4 septic systems. And those are regulated by our multifamily regulations, and we do process those. And as long as they meet the requirements, they have to have like some vegetative screening, and they have to do some different things. Though they have to meet the fire and life safety code that they're regulated under fire code. And once they do those things, they are allowed to do that.
So you said 40,000 acres or 40,000 square feet, and you can have a disconnected fourplex with 4 septics and 1 well.
Generally
So-
speaking, they can get squeezed into a 40,000 square foot lot.
Okay.
It requires that they be a little bit creative, but they can squeeze it in there. People who buy that need to be aware that 20 years down the road, when they have to replace their septic system, they're going to have to do a replace in place, which is not an inexpensive endeavor. And if you're replacing 4 septic systems on 1 lot, all in a matter of 5 to 10 years, that can be a very expensive thing to do.
Okay.
But those are popping up everywhere.
Interesting.
Any other questions for Mr. Strong? Any questions? Kayla, has anybody else joined us for any public discussion? Okay. So seeing and hearing no other persons to be heard, is there any objection to closing the public hearing? All right. Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 25-18.
Commissioner McCabe, I'll make a motion to move 25-18.
All right. Commissioner McCabe moves the motion. Any second? All right. Commissioner Collins with the second. All right. So the main motion is made by Commissioner McCabe and seconded by Commissioner Collins. Is there any discussion? Commissioner McCabe? Would you like to lead us in any discussion?
Well, I'm just thinking about the disconnected fourplex on 40,000 acres and looking at a 30,000, not 30,000 acres, but 40,000 square feet as opposed to 30,000 for one residence. And I'm just wondering, have you encountered, this is for Alex, have you encountered any issues so far with those disconnected fourplexes, or are they so new that you haven't run up against anything like that yet?
So the detached fourplexes was a hot topic a couple of years ago, and we changed the multifamily code to make it so that it captured these things. So people generally would complain about the lack, essentially that they would moonscape the lot before they put it on there, because you kind of have to, just wipe it all out, wipe every single thing out. People were not happy about that. Now that we have vegetation requirements, we get less complaints. I think one of the issues that I have with detached fourplexes is that during the platting process, we don't know that's what's going to be developed there, and we so then cannot estimate how much traffic is going to be generated by that subdivision proposal. And so, the road may be underbuilt or built incorrectly. So that would be my biggest complaint about them. But they are allowed, and generally people who live there are doing just fine. So this guy hasn't totally fallen with those.
Well, the vegetation certainly doesn't fix the underground issues that could potentially arise out of putting septic systems that close together.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a site, case by case basis. There's a lot of areas of the borough where we have a lot of flowing water, and any pollution can be attenuated pretty quickly. There's also vertical separation between septic systems and wells. So if you have a good at least 30 to 40 feet of sand, gravel that the affluent from your septic system can drain through, arguably that is adequate to treat anything before it gets into groundwater. But I agree, the more we put septic systems in the ground, the more potential there is for contamination.
Follow up on that, but we're not so much to follow up on it, but just to clarify, we're speaking more towards these 30,000 square foot lots are going to be zoned for single family homes. So we're not even going to have by this reduction of lot size isn't going to, if anything, it reaffirms that this is a good thing, because we have a detached fourplex on a 40,000 square foot lot with 4 separate systems with a communal well. And so you're having 4 times the influx there. So, yeah. Okay. So
I think I hear exactly what you're saying, Commissioner Collins, and I agree with you. If we can get it to a place where those folks, instead of buying 1/4 of a detached fourplex, are able to buy their own single family home on a slightly smaller lot, that's, I would think, better for everybody, right? I think that's, I agree with you on that. I guess my comments would be that, if we're serious about being committed to the growth of this valley and to making it a place where middle class, young families can come here and they can build their first home and they can start their families and sort of live their American dream in the valley, then I think that we have to look at density. It's sort of high time. We're big enough now. We're sort of sophisticated enough in terms of our local governments that we need to be kind of moving in that direction. I think it makes a lot of sense, for a lot of reasons. The reasons Alex gave in terms of cost sharing, bringing the load down for young families in terms of paying for roads and that kind of stuff. I'm sure there are environmental considerations, and we can kind of move people into more of a dense location. That's probably better. But anyway, the other thing to think about here is we're not talking about, building some massive housing projects like Commissioner Collins pointed out. This strikes me as a relatively subtle change that might make the difference between somebody being able to afford a single family home and not. So that's sort of where I'm at on it. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Commissioner Carpenter, my only thing is so you had the 40,000 and they made a thing called a detached fourplex. So we just made a lot smaller. Do we now have a detached duplex, or is it, how strict are we that it's single family and we run that and it's boom? You know what I mean?
Planning Director, these would be zoned to single family residential. So you could not put a duplex there or a triplex.
That's gotcha.
In some ways, I know exactly what you're saying there, Commissioner Carpenter, but I think in some ways with a zone like that, enforcement might even be easier because you've got them in one place where you can come and say, okay, here's the platting, and anyway. All right.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are those, when they sell the lot, it's got the septic delineated and the water delineated before they even buy to put the house on there? And are these septic systems required to be engineered, just like all the other?
Yeah, so Alex Tron, Planning Director. So the DEC does have requirements. It doesn't have to be an engineer. It has to be a certified septic installer or an engineer. Either one of them could certify it. I forgot the other part of the question. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Is there it's predetermined when they buy the lot, what the
Yeah.
location will be specifically of the septic and the well?
Absolutely. So surely when somebody purchases a lot and is going to build a home, I would hope that they would look at the plat that they're sitting on. And that would be clearly delineated on the plat, the well and the septic location. So it would be predetermined for them where their septic system is going to go, for instance. And I will say that Assemblymember Sumner also is running this concurrently, even though it came to you guys in a different time. He's running it concurrently with bringing back that land use review, adopting that land use review in hopes to avoid the issue of somebody building in the wrong spot. That you sort of give us a sketch of what you're hoping to do, and we would check it off and say, yeah, this is where your well and septic have to go, right? So.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Are there any objections to approving Resolution 25-18 as written? Okay. Seeing and hearing no objections, Resolution 25- is it 19 or 18? I've got two different. 18. Okay. Little typo. That's okay. Seeing and hearing no objections, Resolution 25-18 has been approved. Correspondence and information, none. Unfinished business, none. New business, none. Commission business, upcoming planning commission agenda items. Do any commissioners have any questions about the future agenda items provided in your folder? Any questions about that? All right, then we will go ahead and move on to director and commissioner comments. Mr. Strawn, you want to lead us off?
Sure. So I will say, I'm hoping this is the last time we have to use this conference room. At the next meeting, we have the Planning Commission schedule before you. We, for whatever reason, plan on having a meeting the Monday before elections, and I think we just need to not have a meeting on the first Monday of November, so that we can hold it in the all of our meetings at the Assembly chambers. So thanks for bearing with us on the microphone situation, and as well as to members of the public. But that's all I got.
I'll just say I spared you all the dog pound dad jokes I had lined up for tonight. Commissioner Collins, we'll start with you. Any comments?
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation and the discussion, and appreciate everyone's time today. So thank you so much.
None. Great night.
Just get out and vote. The deadline is tomorrow. Tomorrow's election day.
Well said. Commissioner Zagorodny.
Not really, just, yeah, I was looking through the resolution and, yeah, kind of, it's a kind of an exciting thing because like somebody like me, it gives me a better opportunity, like get a house in the future.
Awesome.
It's more affordable. So, and I mean, kind of rooting for more younger people to get into their own homes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, I think exactly. I think your generation is probably what they had in mind here. At least that's what I was thinking about. When my wife and I were in our late 20s, we were able to buy our own home, and that's really, really hard to do now. And we still live in that house, 23 years later. So, I hope that we can bring that back, and the young families can enjoy that too. All right, it's been a great meeting. And if there's nothing else, then we will adjourn at 6:26 p.m.